I spent time I spent some time exploring the official Python's SDK for the alpaca API and wanted to share a few observations. Overall, the SDK and documentation are well structured and very helpful for developers. I noticed a few areas where small improvements could make the experience even smoother, especially for developers who are just getting started. Just a few areas I can just take a look at. Documentation. One thing I really like about the documentation get started area, it's I really like it, and its introduction gives a lot of useful information upfront about the SDK. So great. One small opportunity I noticed is that it's not immediately obvious what the very first step should be for new developers. For example, should this start with authentication, creating a client, or making a first request? A short start here section with a simple first request example could make it very clear where to begin just at this particular point. And apart from the getting started, the concept pages from clients, APIs, market data, and trading broker, which I viewed as well. I really appreciate how thorough the documentation is. It shows all the capabilities of the SDK. At the same time, some concepts appear by showing which client or API to use first, depending on what they want to achieve. That way, the learning curve is smoother. I will just go deeper to the API documentation where I noticed some areas. The API documentation here. Now the API reference clearly lists all the parameters. Is great. One small area to enhance is adding context for when or why each parameter would be used. For example, when to use GWT versus client secrets, a short description or mini example, for example, parameter could make the documentation more easier to follow. And examples are helpful, could be step by step. The code example are helpful and show how to be structure requests for developers who are newer to the SDK. It could be helpful to prevent them in a more step-by-step way. For instance, create clients to prepare requests to execute to read response. This would make it very straightforward to follow without assuming prior knowledge. So these are just a few observations from my review. There are